Well, to our first topic of discussion today now, electricity or energy theft contributes largely to the power supply crisis in the country, making it fall short of a needed capacity in the whole country. It involves deliberately deceiving the electricity company by tampering with meters and stealing power from the grid. This illicit activity not only leads to significant financial losses for power companies, but also undermines the reliability and stability of the electricity grid. Let's understand this better. And I have the right person in the house. He's live in the studio. He is the Executive Director of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors in the country, and also the spokesperson of all the distribution companies in Nigeria, Barrister Sunday Oduntan. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Yes, like I said in my introduction, this is not looking very good for the distribution companies. But explain to us better, because when I saw the figures for just one disco, I saw that they had about 21,000 cases of energy theft. That's just EKEDC. So tell us more about this.
Thank you very much. Well, energy theft is illegal or unauthorized use of electricity. And like you said, the most common forms are meter bypass, for those who have meters, bypass their meter, and of course, illegal tapping. And of course, we view this as a very severe business issue that needs to be dealt with. We need to check this very rampant situation. We need to do this, one, to ensure revenue assurance for the discos and the value chain at large. We need to do this to ensure business profitability. We need to do this to ensure power supply reliability, like you said, and of course, operational efficiency. The figure that we have, the discos as a whole lose over 40 billion naira every month.
40 billion?
Yeah, the one with the list of the losses loses 3 billion naira every month to energy theft. And once you have these huge losses, it hinders the expected service quality improvements, what people expect us to do. It's hindered. We are not able to do as much as we should do normally. And of course, all our plans, including network expansion plans, and of course, the overall operations of the companies, because a lot of money goes down the drain through these activities of the energy thieves. And the thieves consume more energy because they don't pay for it, so they just use it anyhow. And of course, there are a lot of challenges that come with it. Number one, we have cases of overbilling. That's when you hear customers talking about crazy bills.
Yes.
Crazy bills, not all bills are crazy, but some bills are indeed crazy. If you have, let's say, a group of 20 households using one transformer on the street or in an estate, if out of those 20, let me say 10 of them, assuming 10 of them are metered, other 10 are not metered, those that are not metered get estimated bills. But if 2 or 3 or 4 or more of those that are metered bypass their meters and we are not aware, what happens is that the other 10 people are paying for these rogues within the same street or the same estate. Now, until we find out, and that's why we keep telling our customers, please, if you see something, please say something. If you suspect anything, please let us know. Because there's no point in you paying for the other person. And once people look at their bill and feel, no, this cannot be my bill, even the motivation to pay is not there.
Yes. Because
the bill is just too humongous for them to pay. So these are the kind of situation that we face. And of course, energy theft also increase, apart from the overbilling of unmetered customers, it's also increased the incident where we have overloading of equipment. You get to some areas, the transformer is overloaded because we don't know how many people are connected to transformer. So once what we have on our book is different from what is on the ground, it's a major problem. And of course, it also increased the cost by the discos, particularly the money we spend on having to employ more staff to do more monitoring. Because we now have to send people everywhere throughout the country to check and monitor our network until we're able to find some of these culprits. But in most cases, people just don't say anything. People feel that it's not their business if their neighbor is a thief. And I think we've gotten to that point in this country when, please, if you see something, please say something. And I must also say that incidents of energy theft cut across the strata of the society. It's not just the Morocco or poor people's area thing. It is what you find in major GRAs all over the country. We found people before in Ikeja GRA. We found people before in a place called Bompai in Kano. We found people before in a place called Rayfield in Jos. These are highbrow areas throughout the country. So the rich do it. The poor does it. So it is not restricted to a particular type of people. It's just us. And I'm just pleading with our customers that please, for you to get efficient service, for you to get better quality service, we need to work together. You need to cooperate with us, collaborate with us, so that whenever you suspect or see something, let us know about it so that we can deal with it. Energy theft is killing the sector. And what we have already in the country is not enough as it is. So if we are still trying, and with the government making effort to get more energy and ensure more people have electricity, the little that we have, we should just stop stealing that one. Because the more people continue to do this, the more they are denying millions of people who are honest Nigerians the opportunity to have electricity.
Well, let me ask you this. We're not putting you on the spot, but it's something that really happens. Many would tell you that some of this bypassing or crossing of meters or connections are done by professionals. In some cases, that's why in some cases, staff of some of these distribution companies.
Thank you.
What was your reaction?
I've said it before on this program. I'm not going to sit down here and tell you that when you have more than 26,000 people working, I cannot tell you that all of them are honest. I know we make a lot of effort. Every single disco have invested so much in staff training and doing a lot of things, including giving them incentives to minimize this kind of incidents. But we also say, when you talk about energy theft, you are talking about corruption. And when you talk about bribery and corruption, it involves minimum of two parties. Somebody gives, somebody takes. So in the case of our staff anywhere in Nigeria, if you know of anyone who is asking you, because some cases, we've heard of some cases where they will suggest to the householder that I can do this for you to reduce your bill or to reduce what you pay in terms of vending. Report such. All of us have phones. It is so easy now to get evidence of such things. But I must also say that the issue of either meter bypass or illegal connection is done by any musibau of electrician, any Ahmed. It is an easy thing. Okay. So you don't need an expert.
Okay. And
so those who do it, we caught some vandals in one state in the south one time. They ended up in Megad. I never knew that a Megad can go and vandalize cables or prisers beside a transformer. And the Megad is not an electrician. So which means certain things happen all over the network. It doesn't have to be experts. But I'm not going to exonerate our staff anywhere in the country. What I'm saying is that if you don't agree to take a bribe, nobody can force it on you. If you don't offer a bribe to someone, nobody will take it from you. So at the end of the day, it is all of us that can now make up our mind and say, you know what, I'm not going to give. I'm not going to allow anybody to make me steal energy. So that's to me, that's the answer to that question.
Let's move on now. I know energy theft is bad. I will agree with you because of, like you said, a country of more than 200 million people. Even before privatization in 2013, we're still hovering between 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, sometimes back again to 3,000. Generation is run by private sector. Transmission, FG. Distribution, private. But everybody, there seems to be debts all along that value chain. What is happening?
Well, we have always inaned our own point is that there's a need for the alignment of the value chain. There's a need for technical and commercial alignment. And I will just break it down in a way that anybody can understand it. I'm not going to go technical. What we need to do is technically, if we are going to be able to generate 10,000 megawatts, we must make all our equipment available to wield that power, that 10,000.
Yes.
From the point of generation to the point of distribution. We must also deal with the distribution network to be able to take and distribute that 10,000. So you now have generation, transmission, distribution will now be 10, 10, 10. That's what I call technical alignment.
Being on the same page.
Yes. It has to be same. The moment the figures are not the same, we are not doing the right thing. You can check anywhere else in the world, then we are behind, right? So that's technical. Commercial alignment, by that what I mean is that from the point of generation to transmission and distribution, there are cost elements, there are costs involved. There are production costs, so I can call that production costs. But the generation company are producers of electricity. And there are costs of transportation. That is the cost to the transmission company of Nigeria. Forget about the ownership. Whether it is owned by government or by private companies, the fact is there that there are cost elements to it. And the purpose of doing any business is cost recovery.
Yes.
If you don't recover your costs, you can't go ahead and do the business again. Yes. Forget about profit. Before profit, there must be cost recovery. Now, so generation, transmission, then distribution. So by the time electricity gets to Mr. Ogunjobi's home in Magodo, we should be able to know how much it costs the value chain, not just the disco, not just Ikeja Electric. Ikeja Electric must be able to know how much it costs to get Mr. Tolu Ogunjobi that electricity per kilowatt hour. Once we know the cost, and remember, there are what I would call materials, there are what I would call, for each of the layer, let me start with generation company.
Okay.
There are things like gas.
Okay.
The gas companies are not part of the power sector.
They want their money.
Are IOCs.
They are businessmen.
Exactly.
They want their money.
They need to be paid for their gas.
Yes.
If you don't pay, you won't get. Okay, you need to know the cost of all of this. When you do all this sum total, then we now come to the cost. This is the landing cost. It is the landing cost that should determine the tariff. Now, I also understand that the issue of tariff is another controversial thing because some people will tell you, we cannot afford that. Well, it is time for us as a nation, first and foremost, and thank God this is a new government. Let's begin to either do the head count or find a way to know how many people use utilities in the country. And then you class them, you know where in England, for instance, every October and November, people that are over 70 get checked from government to help them with the cost of gas and electricity every year. It's automatic. You just have it. But in a country where you don't know whether Mr. Tolu Ogunjobi is 70 years old already,
data issues now,
whether he has even reduced his age to 42, you don't know. Because you don't know, how do you take care of that 70-year-old person? So until we have all those data and work with them, that is the only way we can now know the people in society who need assistance or help. And then we can work out how to deal with that situation. But to keep on underselling a product, what you're doing is that you are making it impossible for the sufficiency of that product. That can be electricity, it can be bread, it can be anything. It can be akara. If you don't pay the cost for it, the landing cost, I mean, what you are doing is, Yoruba people call it poti lekun. It means that you are papering over, you are postponing the devil's day, because what happens is that for every time you don't address the shortfall, it will be mounting. So with time, you see a huge shortfall. That's what is happening now in the power sector. I think there's a need for a reset. There's a need for the government to sit down and look at the figure and look at how best to deal with the situation and then deal with so many other issues around it.
Let's take it from there. Realignment, refocusing. We have a new minister from Oyo State, the former deputy governor of the central bank, Mr. Delabu. A lot is expected. And I heard him sometime last week. He went to Ibadan and he's been making some policy statements. You've been in this industry for a while. I know that. Tell us, what should be, or what sort of conversation should he be having at the moment?
Number one, I believe that the Honorable Minister should go out there to the field, visit the different, beginning from power plants. And I'm happy, I read somewhere he said he's having conversation with the Minister of Gas, Petroleum, Gas, then the other infrastructure, transmission, beginning from Oshogbo here in Osun State, then the distribution companies. Then I also suggest that there may be a need for a return of the sectorial meetings, whereby you gather all stakeholders and ask each of them, and I'll give that to Mr. Fashola. Thanks
I remember that.
To him for that.
All states of the Federation, everywhere, region.
You can sincerely, and I use the word sincerely, you can sincerely ask each and every one of the participants, what are your issues? How best can we deal with it? Where are the constraints? How do we unlock this opportunity where we are now able to get this power out, the stranded power, I mean, things like that. Perhaps you need to do that. That's number one. Number two, you need to address the issue of alignment. This is not rocket science. This can be addressed by anybody. It doesn't matter who the power minister is. Even if the power minister is an economics or a banker, a lawyer, or an engineer. In this country, we have had a central bank governor. I mean, that's Adam Shiroma, who was not a banker. And go and look at his record when he was governor of central bank many years ago. So I think the issue is about our determination to ensure the system works, our determination to move the country to the next level, to provide the much needed electricity. And I think, and I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility, that it is not rocket science getting things done. It is the determination, the willingness, and the sincerity. And for you to get things done in the power sector, I must say that you should be ready to step on toes, because there are a lot of things that need to be done. And in doing that, leaders should free themselves from naysayers or people that will just come and give you. Go there and check. You have the opportunity, the access. You can ask questions. You can verify things. By the time we do all of that, we know what we have, what we don't have, why don't we have what we need, where are we now, where were we before now, where are we supposed to be in 2023, and how can we get to where we are supposed to be. And we can start it now. And let me say, when people talk about generation, we need more generation. Generation of electricity is not a one-day thing. Somebody mentioned waste to power. It's not a teacup. It's not a tea party. Same thing with other types. But we need to expand our sources of generation beyond gas-fired stations and hydro. We need to also go into solar. And to do all of this, it's time to start is now. We need to do a lot of things like yesterday. So for every day that is going, we're losing the opportunity to get electricity in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. That is all time can take. But 1 minute, educate Nigerians a bit on that, this NEC revalidating our meters and all of that. Can you say anything around that?
Oh, thank you very much.
Wrap up this, please.
First of all, I need to let Nigerians understand that what NEC is trying to do, the regulator, they are doing a very wonderful job, very difficult job. And what they are trying to do is to give us awareness and give us enough time to get it done. It's a simple thing with the meter. It's just a kind of update. Just like the way your computer system will reboot at some point, and then they say you need to upgrade or update your Windows. So it is just a kind of software update. And what happens is that you'll be given a token or a code that you enter just the same way you do when you vend. Nobody will ask you for money, and don't let anybody give you long story. It is not a difficult thing. If that thing fails, it will affect the whole power sector because the meters will not work and there will be chaos. So in order to avoid that, please cooperate with your local disco, follow their instruction, go to their offices, but don't give money to anybody. It's a free of charge thing. And the NEC website is there. Even for those who are not educated, ask your children, they all have phones that they use for internet. Let people give you the facts, and please, please, let us do it before the time runs out.
I must thank you so much. It's always nice having you on the program, and we hope to have you again when we start to understand and, check the works and the activities of the minister. Thank you so much, Barrister Sunday Oduntan. He is Executive Director, Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, and spokesperson of distribution companies operating in the country. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you.